All right, y'all, we are back with another video. And before we start, please put prayers for Donald Trump in the comment section. We must protect President Trump at all times. Now, they said they have found the shooter's messages. Now they said they're still trying to confirm to make sure that it is his. But y'all have to see these messages here. Like I said before, we're still trying to find out what happened at the rally, what led up to it. We're hearing that it was possibly two shooters and, Secret Service. A lot of people still think that the Secret Service staged everything. And that's just the way I felt about it was the reason why you've seen a lot of us calling out the Secret Service. And come to find out that some of the people that was working that day at Secret Service weren't even real Secret Service people. They were just, I guess, people out there with a uniform on with glasses acting like they are the Secret Service. Now, more stuff is coming out. Like I said, make sure y'all please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay up to date with everything that's going on. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this show so y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So we're pretty much done the initial rush of information. We've gone over and analyzed pretty much everything available relating to the Trump shooting or the attempt on Donald Trump's life. Of course, we cover the initial frenzy, the initial flurry, and it's calmed down since. We haven't had that much to talk about as of late. Well, today that changes. We just got a potential huge clue in the case. You know, there was this initial claim from Democrats that the shooter was actually a registered Republican. It's Republican on Republican violence. And Democrats have really run with that, using the shooter's voter registration as a means to avoid accountability for their awful, clearly violent rhetoric. Well, I guess possibly no more, as the founder and CEO of the social media website named Gab uncovers some very interesting potential evidence.
Wow.
Gab CEO Andrew Torba is claiming to have potentially found messages from Thomas Crooks, the actual shooter. And let's just say if this is true, it pretty much confirms our suspicions.
Yeah.
Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that as another Democrat narrative potentially falls apart here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, can I have your attention please? And please specifically draw your attention to this tweet from Andrew Torba. He writes this at 2:34 p.m. on the 24th of July, 2024. Approximately 30 minutes ago, Gab learned that Thomas Crooks, the deranged Joe Biden supporter who attempted to assassinate President Donald Trump, may have had an account on our platform, although we are unable to confirm that the account in question actually belonged to him. The account was last active on the site back in 2021. As far as we are aware, the account did not use the site to send any direct messages. He posted on the website a total of 9 times. While the account made very few posts on the site, a number of the posts in particular expressed support for President Biden's COOF lockdowns, border policies, and executive orders. We have saved the account data pending receipt of a search warrant. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these messages that he posted, and you'll notice that a lot of these messages are in response to prominent right-wing figures. The first one in response to Cat Turd, I'm sure you guys know who that is. Didn't you also think that Biden would lose in a landslide? Yeah, I would not be very confident in your election predictions. First of all, Biden executive orders don't incentivize trafficking, as human traffickers aren't interested in citizenships. Likewise, the majority of illegal immigrants are not criminals, and in fact, some studies show lower rates of crime committed by these individuals. So this guy is literally promoting like average DNC talking points, the same typical dishonest nonsense. Illegal immigrants commit less crimes. Yeah, well, that's first of all fundamentally untrue, considering every illegal immigrant committed a crime with their first act of stepping in the nation illegally, and also not to mention any illegal committing any crime is too much and wholly unacceptable. But anyways, if these are his messages, the guy's obviously a raging leftoid regurgitating the same expected MSNBC talking points. He goes on about Joe Biden's executive orders allowing an easier path to US citizenship, no longer making illegal immigrants illegal. He speaks about reuniting families that were separated at the border, essentially your typical bleeding heart leftist. Yeah, the mainstream media wants you to believe that this guy's a right-winger, that a right-wing extremist who was probably motivated by Donald Trump's violent rhetoric against journalists and leftoids. Well, he was so motivated by that rhetoric that he attacked Donald Trump? Now, please make that make sense. Obviously, it makes absolutely no sense. Why would a Republican motivated by violent right-wing rhetoric attack the right-wing Republican leader of the party? You know, obviously that never made any sense. This, however, does make sense. He's essentially espousing the exact type of rhetoric that leftoids are actively using right now to justify violence violence against Donald Trump. Remember that evil leftist Karen video I played just the other day?
So you want Trump to get shot?
I do.
Why?
Get rid of him.
Why? Why would you want somebody like that to get killed? That's horrible.
Is it? You think?
Yes, it is. You should never wish for a president to get shot.
Human beings that are walking up from Venezuela to be sent back to war and kidnapping, gun gang. Why would you want that? Why would you want any of those people, which he calls illegals? I'm coming in.
Come in legally.
Come in. You know how hard that is to do, and do you know why they've left?
Millions of people are doing it.
Women who are getting their period every 30 days are walking for 3 months with children. Think about that. Well, you don't get the period, but menstruating every 30 days as you're walking through the jungle. Take that home tonight.
Well, what was the justification?
Wow.
Issues at the southern border. The same thing that Rachel Maddow was crying about on air.
Thank you. Do we have it? No. 3 tender age shelters in South Texas. Lawyers and medical providers. Just, I think I'm gonna have to hand this off. Yeah. Sorry. That does it for us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow. Now it is time for
The same thing that Alexandria...
See, I mean, you got these disgusting people who sit around and you listen to what this woman just said. That she hoped that Donald Trump would have got shot, pretty much taken out. This is what these people, this is how they is. This woman, MSNBC, and then when you start looking at those messages, it kind of makes you think, hey, that right there is the messages that's coming from Thomas Crooks. He sound like he's been building up this momentum, what he was saying back in 2021, all the way up to what he just tried to do. And I guarantee you, it's going to come out that those messages did come from him. You can just tell. Listen to the talking points. All leftist talking points about Donald Trump. I mean, anybody with a brain can tell that Joe Biden has destroyed this country, leaving borders open. Look what happened to like innocent females, innocent young women, because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Their fault, not closing the border. Why? Because they want illegal immigrants to vote for them. That's what they want. Anything it takes for them to try to beat Donald Trump. And now just throwing Kamala Harris in there 3 months ahead of time. They think that all black people just gonna go on and vote for Kamala because now she's trying to use the black card. Oh, vote for me because I'm black. I mean, this right here is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. That's why Donald Trump is enraged. He's upset about all of this. Look at what they're trying to do. And like I said before, I guarantee you, those text messages came from Thomas Crooks. Watch what I tell you. They said they still trying to confirm it, but I guarantee you that those messages came from him. I mean, this right here is just crazy. It just got out of control. And like I said, we still trying to look into like what happened, what caused it. It's still new details coming out every single day, just like these messages just came out. At first, they said they couldn't find him if he was on like any platform or anything like this. And then these messages right here appear. So like I said, more stuff is coming out by the day. So like I said before, make sure you got your notifications on. That way y'all can stay up to date with everything that's going on. We're going to get to the bottom of this about who was working with this guy trying to help take out Trump. Like I said before, we found out it was more than likely it was a second shooter. So we shall see. But just people sitting around wishing that Donald Trump would have got taken out is just freaking insane. You just listen to this woman saying she hoped Donald Trump got taken out. I mean, come on, man.
Ocasio-Cortez did her infamous photo shoot about.
Oh, God. She's crooked of them all.
You know, this rhetoric that Donald Trump is a fascist, locking people up, You know, it's all these extreme fear-mongering talking points that leftoids use to justify their violent rhetoric. Trump is a fascist, violating people's human rights. Therefore, I believe that political violence is justified. That's essentially what we hear from the left. Well, now here we have, potentially, if these are his messages, an individual who seemed outraged over the exact thing, and well, what did he do roughly 4 years later? An attempted assassination on the former president and political candidate for president, who supposedly, according to the left, is engaging in all of these fascistic, horrible activities. You know, Democrats have been trying to run away from their rhetoric as of late, but it's really starting to look like the shooter could have easily been motivated by left-wing conspiracy theories. Apparently, the FBI is already in contact with Mr. Andrew Torba. At least that's what I gathered from his post. It's possible that I misread that, but I guess now these messages are part of the investigation as a whole, and we'll just have to wait for them to get validated. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about relating to this narrative, because I know Democrats are just going to go on and on, continuously pointing over and over again that Matthew Crooks was a registered Republican, and that pretty much ends all the speculation and all the questions.
The thing that I don't like about that, about he's a Republican, a registered Republican, see, they trying to use that to try to validate what he did, to try to make it seem like, oh, well, he wasn't a Democrat, so y'all can't try to blame him on us. That's what they trying to do. This guy was obviously a Joe Biden supporter. This guy supported Joe Biden. And now Democrats trying to push him over to the Republicans and say, hey, y'all deal with him. He was a Republican. That Trump shooting had nothing to do with us. That's what they trying to do. That right there is not going to work. We already exposed that. That right there is not going to work at all. We ain't falling for that crap. I mean, come on, man. That is just crazy.
But that obviously isn't the case at all, and a lot of us who have been following the 2024 primary season, well, we know that Democrats were up to all kinds of shenanigans.
Yep.
We saw a trend across a couple states where Democrat activists were registering as Republicans just to be able to vote in the Republican primary process so they could cast a ballot voting against Donald Trump. We saw all kinds of Democrats change their registration so they could vote for Nikki Haley in an effort to stop Trump at any cost. And of course, as we know, in some states, it's an open primary, meaning independents and Democrats can also vote in the Republican primary, and that they did. Again, voting for Nikki Haley. There was a massive call to action for Democrat activists to engage in that kind of behavior. That could easily explain the Republican voter registration, yet Democrats act as if there's only one explanation, and that explanation is that the shooter was a registered Republican. I don't know about that one. I'd rather apply the Occam's razor doctrine and simply assume the most logical explanation. You know what doesn't seem logical to me? A registered Republican attempting to assassinate the Republican leader. Now, maybe there is the slight possibility that this individual was a Lincoln Project style Republican, a never-Trumper, but really, what would that change? There's barely any difference from your average Democrat and your average never-Trumper. They're both the same. They're both suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, usually to an equal degree. They're both watching MSNBC. They're essentially the same thing in the same camp, getting exposed to the violent rhetoric being promoted by left-wing news outlets.
Just sit back on the sidelines and say, oh, well, don't worry, this will all work itself out. They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
So whether the kid was a never-Trumper or whether he was a Democrat, a far-left activist, it's essentially the same thing. And so we're coming right back to the start, right back to the initial reaction after the Trump shooting, that obviously this is the result of violent left-wing rhetoric and the promotion of outlandish Trump derangement syndrome conspiracy theories. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's what I got.
Well, there you go right there. Salute to liberal high mind for that right there, man. I mean, come on. I mean, that right there just really disgusts me that this woman sat here on screen and said she would have hoped Donald Trump got taken out. And then you got Rachel Maddow. She gets on. I don't know what it is with her and Van John. They do these fake cries on, you know what I'm saying, like live and stuff as if we supposed to, fall for it or something like that. I mean, but this right here is just crazy. And me personally, I feel like these messages really validate everything. I really do feel like that. I really feel like these messages came from this shooter. Like I said, y'all can let me know in the comment section what y'all think about it. Thank you all for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, make sure you are subscribed so you can stay up to date with everything that's going on. And I catch y'all in the next one.